this show, Adolescence, really has, taken on a whole new life. I don't know if you ever imagined it would be quite as popular as it was.
No, honestly, like going into it, I don't think like any of us fully understood. Like, I think we were all really like excited by the project and knew how vital the subject matter was, but you just don't know if something's gonna take off. Like, I've seen such amazing TV shows or films that for whatever reason don't kind of have this massive impact, and like I am baffled by it. And so the fact that it's happened with this tiny little British show is phenomenal.
There's a lot to unpack here, and I think one of the things is that it is, filmed just in one shot, and also you only appear in one episode out of four. And I feel like you're such an important part of it, but that must be a strange thing to just come on for one, what I have to imagine is one of the most intense shoots of your life.
It really was. But what was kind of a blessing in disguise, I think, for me anyway, maybe not Owen, but maybe, but we shot our episode first. So we kind of like set the tone. Like there was nothing, like it just felt like the first day of school. And again, what we were really lucky with this shoot was that we rehearsed for longer than we shot. So we kind of rocked up and it felt like doing a play, which is like my favorite thing in the world. Like so it felt like going into a rehearsal room, really like creating that bond. And then you just kind of like I ended up like forgetting that there was, especially like because my episode is so self-contained, kind of like I actually ended up just forgetting about the larger scale project and just went, okay. It was then easy for me to just lock onto Bryony and her perspective, which was just these sessions. And so I treated it like that. And then that's in a way what was really gorgeous was then pretty much a year later, I got sent the whole thing from Netflix, like before it got put out there, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna actually sit and watch this thing that I kind of have no idea about." It was really amazing. Like I felt like I was an audience member just as much.
And what did you connect to specifically about this role, this character, not just the project?
I think for me specifically, it was the idea of putting a therapist on screen. Like I've always been so I'm I love therapy. So I'm such a huge advocate for it, and I've been always and will forever be so fascinated by their jobs. Like I just find it so interesting, and I love human beings and figuring out why they do what they do. And so the idea of putting myself in their shoes and really kind of highlighting, because I think there's such a kind of cliche about therapists and like they're just this kind of armored human being with no emotion. And actually I was like, no, I want to like blow the lid off that and go, no, like they have to like seriously battle some intense situations, and I feel like they don't get enough credit for that. So I was excited by that.
It is also a necessity to be a little bit gentle. Having seen, obviously, you hadn't when you filmed this, but seeing, the character from the first episode just being so scared when he was arrested, and so here you have to make sure you're balancing, coddling a little, but also being legitimately scared about of the person you're talking to.
Yeah, yeah. And that's like honestly, I think it's a tribute to Owen because he was genuinely he really threw himself into it. And I'm so proud that he's getting the recognition that he's getting, because it's not an easy task for anyone, let alone a young boy in his first job. Like it was really, really impressive. And like honestly, all I had to do was get out of my own way and be present, and everything he was doing, like was everything that I needed. Like it fueled everything. I'd never had to like orchestrate anything. Like sometimes you're just not feeling it in a scene and you're like, oh, okay, what tools can I kind of lean on to get to where I need to be? But this was the complete opposite. Like all you had to do was just be in the moment and trust that the other one was going to throw whatever they wanted at you and you just had to react. And it was the most blissful experience of like shooting on screen that I've ever had.
You feel like your dynamic evolved over the course of your rehearsals?
Oh, completely. Like Owen is like such a wonderful, wonderful human being. So it was never going to be hard. But even now, like you just can't help but like have so much love for him because he's just such a genuine soul, and he really, really just cared about doing this project to the best of his ability, which is I think all we can ever do. And he just doesn't have an ego. And I think like again, like that's the magic of this thing is everyone involved just wanted to be involved for the purity of telling this story. And it really I do just believe that that's why it had such a massive impact, because it kind of it just is so alive in that.
In terms of the, shooting in one shot, do you feel like theater experience is the best way for other actors to prepare for that?
I do honestly, but I, literally, whenever I meet any actor going, I'm literally like, you need to do this. I just think like it's such a formative experience for me that I'm like, I just think everyone needs to. I think it just essentially makes you a better actor. Like you have to just jump off the cliff and see what happens and be brave enough and just go out on that limb. And sometimes it's really easy with shooting on screen to fall back on like, oh well, we'll just go again. And but actually when you're forced into that territory of like, okay, if I mess this up, we only have one more shot today. And then like you're like constantly like ticking off days, and it is this constant stressor. But I do think when you really look at it, there's a positive there, and it really just like you have to flex those muscles, and you only come out of it a better actor.
Well, while the show is certainly undeniably popular, you were part of another show that was a big cultural phenomenon, The Crown. How do you feel like these two shows compare in terms of just how audiences receive them?
I think maybe a willingness. Like I feel really lucky that people were so receptive to both of those shows. The shock was Adolescence, because it was, I think, going into The Crown, it was different because Matt Smith, Claire Foy, Vanessa Kirby, they'd already absolutely obliterated that. And I was like, it was, if anything, the pressure was on there in that realm of being like, how the hell do you carry that torch? um so that kind of held its own kind of like nerves, but it was just a it was a joyous experience from start to finish, because you knew that you were a part of something that audiences were so behind and so interested in. Like even me, like when I went up for the like audition for Princess Anne, I was like, God, this woman's amazing. I was like, whoever does this, like she's such a fascinating woman. So I completely understand why people fell in love with that show. Um, but yeah, I think the similarity has to just be like, yeah, people's maybe it's something to do with a shift in people's preconceptions of things. Like I don't know, like because I think people have a certain perspective on the royals, and the crown kind of showed the heart of these human beings. And Adolescence kind of does that in the sense of Stephen and Jack didn't want to play the kind of national, like the normal kind of, oh okay, well it was his parents that messed with, like it was actually everything but that. It was all about exploring the psychology of this, and that was kind of the they went down a different route there. And I feel like people are very receptive to that, to being kind of like shocked in that way.
I've seen you before, as I mentioned, in The Crown, also in Chloe. I've been watching Steven, for a while, but I feel like a lot of people will seek, other projects out after this. And one of the first things they'll find is A Thousand Blows, which while it has you and Steven, I feel like couldn't be any more different in tone from the show. What is it like having these two shows? Even though you don't interact with Steven on this one, just the fact that they're both out at the same time.
Honestly, I'm chuffed. I'm literally like, this is the best time of my life. I'm like, what is going on? Honestly, like we had an absolute ball shooting that. Like it was on that job that I was speaking to Stephen. Like it was as we were wrapping that I was like, "What are you doing next?" And he started talking to me about Adolescence. So I've got like it's such a funny little crossover. But obviously Stephen is the common denominator there. But yeah, I mean, I loved that show like with a passion. I just love. Again, maybe I'm drawn to like real people. Like I think I just could not believe that we hadn't told the story of the 40 elephants yet, and Mary Carr. Like the fact that they really existed and were really so genuinely skilled at what they did. I was just like, I have to be a part of putting this on screen. Like it was an absolute honest, like to God, just joy of a year. So I'm really, really happy, and again, like stunned that they're both out there doing their thing.
What's next for you?
I'm doing something called California Avenue. with Hugo Blick. It's got Bill Nye and Helena Bonham Carter, Tom Burke in it. I'm really really buzzed about it. We actually haven't started shooting yet, but we start in a couple of weeks actually. So that's gonna be, yeah. I'm very buzzed about that.
I know you said you really like playing real people. Is there someone in history that you feel like I want to tell this story next? That would be very exciting if I played that part.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I feel like I don't know, like I'm not there. I've always loved being surprised by scripts that land in your inbox and you're like, I never would have sought this out, but I have to be a part of this. Like I love the element of being sucked into something and having kind of that, I don't know what it is. I don't know how to describe it. There's this kind of like magnet moment when you're reading and you're like, I just can't let anyone else do this. So I love that, and in a way, like I never want to give that up. So I love being surprised. But we'll see. Who knows whether it'll be a real person next or what? But there's definitely a strange pressure that comes with it. But maybe I kind of thrive off that. I don't know.
Well, this is Awards Buzz. We always like to ask everybody we speak to, what are you watching? What have you seen recently that's really stuck with you? And Adolescence is overwhelmingly the number one answer, but the rule is you can't say your own show. To say something else you're watching that you've liked.
um, I mean, I love Hacks. Like I have just got into Hacks and absolutely obliterated it. Like I love that show with a passion. What else did I love? I loved Dying for Sex. I thought that was phenomenal. Um, what else did I love? I mean, yeah, I'm also like I just watched Too Much. I really loved that. I thought that was brilliant. Um, what else have I been doing? I'm also just such a sucker for like I love Only Murders in the Building. Like that is my kind of like happy place. That is like, I mean, I grew up like my sister particularly loves Father of the Bride. So anything Steve Martin, we're like, and the fact that it's got Martin Short in it as well. And I'm the biggest Meryl Streep fan, and she's been a reoccurring character. So that is like in my heart of hearts. I'm honestly, I cannot wait to hopefully meet them all one day and just absolutely go off on one about how much I love that show.
Well, California Avenue sounds very British, but you just named it all American TV
I
series. So I think
know,
that has to be
but they're
your next
everywhere.
project. Got to
Who
do something
knows?
over here.
I'd love that. I'd love that. Let's see what happens.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Erin. It was such a pleasure, and I wish you
Thank
continued
you.
success in the future.
Thank you so much. It was so lovely to meet you.